And yeah, let's close this section on pandas by looking at a real-world example. And in this example, what we're going to do is we're going to grab the address of each of these rows that we have in the data frame. We're going to convert it to a latitude and longitude coordinates. So geographic coordinates in other words. Now addresses, they define a unique point on the Earth. So if you pass this address to some service, let's say you throw it on Google Maps, and Google Maps will point you, so it will generate a marker that will tell you where this point is located. Now on the background, that marker actually has a pair of latitude and longitude coordinates. And every point on Earth has this pair of coordinates. And if you follow the section on building web maps with Volume in the course, then you know what these latitudes and longitudes, how they come in handy when you build applications such as web maps or other maps. Now the process to convert from addresses to coordinates is called geocoding. And if you want to convert from latitude and longitude to addresses, that is called the reverse geocoding. In this lecture, we're going to be looking at geocoding. So basically what we're going to do is we'll add here a column to the data frame, actually two columns, one for latitude and one for longitude, for each of the rows. Now pandas cannot do that directly, so you need the help of another library that is called GeoPy. And you can install GeoPy with pip. So pip install and GeoPy. And just wait a while. Oh, great. And then, before going ahead and applying the geocoder to my data frame values, I'd like to actually convert a single address, an address string with geocoder. Something you should be aware of is that to use GeoPy, actually to use the geocoder, which is, if you say import GeoPy, and if you say GeoPy, like that, you'll see that you have a geocoder module among them, which is this one here, so geocoders actually. And for the geocoders to work, you need an internet connection. Because what geocoders will do, it will get your address and then it will send that to an online service that has all these addresses in a database, and then for your address it will calculate the corresponding latitude and longitude values. So you need an internet connection. And yeah, what you normally do is, you want to import from geopy.geocoders import. Actually, there are a few geocoders there, but we will use Nominatim. And then what to do is, you create a Nominatim variable object. So you store that object in a variable. And once you have that object, then you point to the geocode method of the Nominatim object, and you pass an address as a string in there. Let's say 3995 23rd, then maybe the city, and the zip code 94114. And if you execute that, you'll get a location data type there. So all this, and what that includes is, it includes the address that you pass there, so this one, and it has also added the United States of America, so the country in here, and you also get the latitude and longitude. And this one here, just ignore that, it's just a response from the geocoder, so it doesn't mean much. Now sometimes though, it's rare, but sometimes you may get a non-object. So for instance, if you pass this address, which probably is not a real address, I'm not sure about that, I don't know, but if you say San Francisco, CA94119. If you execute that, nothing will happen. And actually, you can see that if you store this in a variable and then print n, this will say that it's a non-object, so it doesn't have anything inside. So yeah, be aware of these scenarios as well. And yeah, we had our working address, this one here. Let's store that in this variable. Once you have that, to extract the latitude and longitude, you apply latitude for the latitude value and longitude for longitude. And that should do it, because you know n, type n is a special object. It's called a location object of GeoPy, so you need to apply those methods. And yeah, that's how you convert an address string to a location or to latitude and longitude values. But how about converting an entire column of a data frame into latitude and longitude? So we've got this data frame, df equals to pandas dot read csv, so super dot csv, and this should be an underscore. And let me import pandas first and print out the data frame. So this is our new data frame. Actually, this is the old one that we've been using. We have 6 addresses there, 6 rows with an address, a city and state and country. Now the geocode method, more or less, it accepts this kind of format. So it expects from you the road name in here, and then the city, and the zip code in here, and the country. So what we can do is we need to construct such a column in our data frame first. And yeah, you can either create a new column or you can edit an existing one. So let's say I'll edit the address, the existing address column. So that would be equal to df address, so this value in here, plus, well, I'll need a comma in there, so a comma and maybe a space, and plus df city, so a comma between address and city, and then another comma, and then plus df state again, and yeah, yet another comma, like that, plus again df, and lastly country. That should do it, df. And yeah, we've got a complete address column in there. Great. And now we need to send this string to the geocode method, and we need to do it for all the rows. You're probably thinking of iterating, but with pandas, actually, you don't need to iterate. I mean, pandas is designed in a way that it allows you, it has some methods that allows you to apply a method or a function to all the rows of the data frame without having to write a for loop. And to do that, you need to create a new column. Let's call it coordinates, where you store the string. This string in here. So this actually it's not a string, it's a location object, but you can store it in your data frame. So we need to store locations for each of the rows, and the way you do that is you point to the column that you want to pass to your geocoder, and then you use a pandas method called apply. So what method do you want to apply to the values of the address column? Well, that would be n. So n is a nominatum object that we have here. Oh, sorry, it's nom. Sorry. So that would be nom.geocode. And so the same as this one. So nom.geocode. But in this case, you don't pass brackets there, because the apply method will do it for you. So just like that, and then you print out the data frame in there and see what you get. I got a service timed out. The geocoder is not working properly. Maybe I have a problem with my internet connection. So if you get this long error, that is not your fault. It's a problem with the geocoder, with GeoPy. I'll try that again. And yeah, this time it worked. It was able to fetch the location objects in here. I mean, you cannot see the latitude and longitude because it's a long string, but if you do it like that, coordinates, you get the series for coordinates, and yeah, that is not showing it either, but you can do it like, you know, df coordinates, and then you access the first item only, like that, and then you get the entire text for the location. If you want the latitude, you get latitude only. And that brings us to the point that you may want now to add another 2 columns in your data frame, where you fetch the latitude and the longitude values. So our data frame is this one at the moment. And what you could do is, you know, you could create a latitude column in there that would be equal to df coordinates apply. You know, you cannot apply latitude directly in there, because you'll get this kind of error that says series has no attribute latitude. So you're applying a latitude method to a series, but a series doesn't recognize that. What series recognizes is the apply method. So there you can write your other methods. Now latitude will point to the values of this coordinates column, and in such scenario you use a lambda function, so which is an inline method to build the function. So you'd say lambda x is a temporary variable there, and you say x latitude, and yeah, let's keep it like that for now. Df there, and let's see what we got. Well, it says that a non-type object has no attribute latitude, so this can be quite tricky if you're not experienced with geocoding. Yeah, the reason we get this is that we have a non-row value in there among our rows, and the non-row, which is not a location data type, does not have a latitude method, because you know what we did here is we're storing all these values, so it is like a loop. We are storing all these values in the temporary x variable, and then for each of these value we apply the latitude. So what Python will do is it will go through the first row and it will apply the latitude methods to the first row, and it will store it in the latitude column. And then it goes to the second value, but in this value latitude is not existing for none, so you get an error. To do that, you could apply a conditional, an inline if conditional. You say if x is not none, else none. Yeah, I know it's a bit confusing, but what we did is, you know, apply latitude if x is not none. So it will apply this method for those rows, for those values. Otherwise, it will store none in the current cell of the latitude column. So I hope that is clear. I'll execute here. And yeah, we got the latitude column in there. Great. And we can do the same for a longitude. Longitudes, and here as well. Yeah, that was quick. And yeah, that's it. You have a latitude and longitude column in your data frame. So please have a second look at what I wrote in here. And if there is something that doesn't make sense, just drop a question. and I'll be happy to answer you. So yeah, we have quite a lot of flexibility working with data frames. I hope you enjoy this, and I'll talk to you in the next lectures. See you.